here, he's branded you, all of you, as far-right thugs and Nazis, prejudged you as criminals, and his stormtroopers will come and arrest you shortly. The third emotion driving our so-called leaders is loathing. They don't believe in the nation state. They believe in open borders and cheap labour for global corporations. Their loyalties lie with the World Economic Forum. Tutik here has made that pretty clear already. They loathe our nation and its people, the obstacles to their globalist totalitarian utopia. They don't want to be challenged. They are terrified of scrutiny. They don't want their lies exposed, and they certainly don't want to listen to you, the British people.
Everybody's lives matter, black lives matter, trans lives matter, refugees' lives matter, except old people's lives don't seem to matter. Why on earth are they choosing this as their first hill to die on?
Will our so-called leaders ever recognise the legitimate concerns and grievances of the British people? Do our so-called leaders actually want to solve the problems, or do they want to use the problems? Problems they created, by the way, to take more power and take away more of your freedoms. You see, these Marxists weren't elected because British people wanted to be governed by Marxists. They were only elected because of the Tories spent 14 years failing everyone. They failed the British people, failing to be remotely conservative, failing to lower taxes, failing to control our borders, failing to protect our freedoms. And now in power, these Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos and division that they create, divide and rule. There must be an enemy. There must be a reason to take action against these enemies of the state, and that action will always take away your freedom.
There's been a knife attack on a property in Hart Street. There are reports of it involving children, and I can now confirm that some of the patients have been taken to Alder Hey Children's Hospital, so that would suggest that those reports have indeed been accurate.
Here in the UK, 2 children have been killed in what police called a ferocious stabbing in a dance class in Southport in the northwest of England.
How many more children have died on our streets by this time? How many more children? 5 nights. Got the photos. Off you go. Make the real change, Prime Minister. Make the real change! Our children! Go away!
That was dead.
Not one dead!
My child, and he hardly said.
So what actually happened in Southport? A man of Rwandan descent murdered 3 beautiful girls and stabbed 8 more children and 2 more adults. How did the government react? What did the machinery of the totalitarian state do? Well, you and I would hope something like this would get the government to stop and reflect for a minute. Why have these girls been murdered? Why is there so much knife crime? Why is there so much rape? Why are these so-called asylum seekers flocking to our shores? What values and cultures do they bring with them? Are their values compatible with ours? Are all cultures of equal merit? You and I would hope the government would ask why the peasants, that's us, you and me, why are the peasants revolting? No, don't be ridiculous. Reflecting is not a popular pastime with communists and tyrants. Admitting they're wrong is not a key competence of these tyrants. Apologising for destroying our nation, it's not going to happen. What this government actually did, well, firstly, they did everything they possibly could to cover up the basic facts, what you and I will call the truth. They said immediately it wasn't terrorism. How could they possibly know immediately the motive, what there wasn't terrorism? How could they know that? And how could stabbing young girls at a Taylor Swift dance studio not be terrorism? They said he was from Cardiff. Axel Ruddock Yabana. Yes, he's as Welsh as the daffodils. They looked for evidence he was mentally ill. I can help with that one. Yeah, he was mentally ill. Anyone who commits a crime like that is mentally ill. Exactly what kind of mental illness? And they published a picture of him, looking like an innocent little 12-year-old, and reported he was a choir boy. They made him the victim. They did all this because they don't want us knowing the truth. They manage the information.
Misinformation is dangerous. Social media is good, but it's also bad when people are using it in a way that could cause a riot, threats, intimidation. I think the government have really got to think long and hard about what they're going to do with social media and what are they going to put through Parliament as a bill tonight. Misinformation is dangerous, and no misinformation or threats or intimidation should be allowed to be carried out on social media platforms.
That's their words. How absurd, how foolish, and how dangerous. And Keir, how is this working for you, managing the information? Do the government really believe their actions will help build a peaceful, prosperous and patriotic society? What about a cohesive society? Or are they so short-sighted, so hungry for power, and so disdainful of the British people that they will use anything, no matter how awful, how tragic, they will use anything as an opportunity to implement their totalitarian agenda and crush anyone who speaks out against them. As we've said, these Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos. There must be an enemy to mobilise the population against, an enemy to divert attention away from the government's agendas and their favours.
You said the rights movement was a societal black hole. What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that was that the riots, I think, were symbolic of a broken society. They were far right in the main, but underneath that, I think there was a societal black hole, a breaking of our society, which we need to mend. I'm convinced that the answer to it is delivery in government. So the best argument against the far right, best argument against the easy answer, is to deliver, to bring about the change that we promised we'd bring about.
That's right. Tuti Keir seems to acknowledge there are troubles. He says the solution is delivering in government, which suggests the cause of the problem is failure in government. Well, I agree, Comrade Keir. And he says the far right, whoever they are, is the snake oil of easy answers. I think it'd be more accurate to say the use of the term far right to label concerned British citizens is the snake oil of lazy government. And any anger, which he labels far right, is a consequence of failure in government. You can't blame the Tories forever, Comrade Keir. And listen to this.
It doesn't matter what apparent motivation there is. This is violence, it is not protest. It doesn't matter what the motivation is.
That's right. He doesn't care what happened. He doesn't care. Okay? It gives him the excuse to crush the dissent that terrifies him. The dissent of the average British man and woman. And by the way, we still haven't been told anything about the motivation of the Southport killer. What could it possibly have been?